as though carving a man in two. His club near Hyde Park Corner had never seemed to him so desolate. From sheer force of habit he went into the card-room. The afternoon had so darkened that electric light already burned, and there were the usual dozen of players seated among the shaded leaves falling decorously on dark wood tables, on the backs of chairs, on cards and tumblers, the little gilded coffee cups, the polished nails of fingers holding cigars. A crony challenged him to piquet. He sat down, listless. That three-legged whist, bridge, had always offended his fastidiousness, a mangled short cut of a game. Poker had something blatant in it. Piquet, though out of fashion, remained for him the only game worth playing, the only game which still had style. He held good cards, and rose the winner of £5 that he would willingly have paid to escape the boredom of the bout. Where would they be by now? Past Newbury, Jip sitting opposite that Swedish fellow with his greenish wildcat's eyes. Something furtive and so foreign about him. A mess, if he were any judge of horse or man. Thank God he had tied Jip's money up, every farthing. And an emotion that was almost jealousy swept him at the thought of the fellow's arms round his soft-haired, dark-eyed daughter, that pretty, willowy creature, so like in face and limb to her whom he had loved so desperately. Eyes followed him when he left the card-room, for he was one who inspired in other men a kind of admiration. None could say exactly why. Many, quite as noted for general good sportsmanship, attracted no such attention. Was it style, or was it the streak of something not quite typical, the brand left on him by the past? Abandoning the club, he walked slowly along the railings of Piccadilly towards home, that house in Berry Street, St. James's, which had been his London abode since he was quite young, one of the few in the street that had been left untouched by the general passion for puffing down and building up, which had spoiled half London, in his opinion. A man, more silent than anything on earth, with the soft, quick, dark eyes of a woodcock, and a long greenish knitted waistcoat, black cutaway, and tight trousers strapped over his boots, opened the door. "I shan't go out again, Marky. Mrs. Marky must give me some dinner. Anything'll do." Marky signalled that he had heard. Those brown eyes under eyebrows meeting and forming one long, dark line, took his master in from head to heel. He'd already nodded last night, when his wife had said the governor would take it hard. Retiring to the back premises, he jerked his head towards the street, and made a motion upward with his hand, by which Mrs. Marky, an astute woman, understood that she had to go out and shop because the governor was dining in. When she had gone, Marky sat down opposite Betty, Jip's old nurse. The stout woman was still crying in a quiet way. It gave him the fair hump, for he felt inclined to howl like a dog himself. After watching her broad, rosy, tearful face in silence for some minutes, he shook his head. With a gulp and a tremor of her comfortable body, Betty desisted. One paid attention to Marky. Winton went first into his daughter's bedroom and gazed at its emptied silken order, its deserted silver mirror, twisting viciously at his little moustache. Then, in his sanctum, he sat down before the fire without turning up the light. Anyone looking in would have thought he was asleep. The drowsy influence of that deep chair and cosy fire had drawn him back into the long ago. What unhappy chance had made him pass her house today? Some say there is no such thing as an affinity, no case, of a man at least, made bankrupt of passion by a single love. In theory it may be so. In fact, there are such men, neck-or-nothing men, quiet and self-contained, the last to expect that nature will play them such a trick, the last to desire such surrender of themselves, the last to know when their fate is on them. Who could have seemed to himself, and indeed to others, less likely than Charles Clare Winton, to fall over head and ears in love when he stepped into the Beaver Hunt ballroom at Grantham that December evening 24 years ago? A keen soldier, a dandy, a first-rate man to hounds, already almost a proverb in his regiment for coolness, and for a sort of courteous disregard of women as among the minor things of life. He'd stood there by the door, in no hurry to dance, taking a survey with an air that just did not give